as a startup, you focus more on your product, your bootstrapping um, strategy, which is very important because you're doing a startup. If you spend too much time on your presentation, um, your idea, how to validate this idea, it's not you're just wasting your time. I think as a startup, your time is very valuable, and you just focus on a small step.
Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of the Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, a serial entrepreneur that has grown several startups into 7- and 8-figure businesses, as well as founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where we focus on helping startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. And if you ever need help with your patent or trademark, feel free to go to strategymeeting.com and grab some time with us to chat. Now today, and I'll give the apology ahead of time. So we have Lucas on, and Lucas actually recorded a episode before this. Somehow with the Zoom and all that they do, it got corrupted. So he's coming back on. We're redoing the episode. I'm sure it'll even be better than the first time. But just as an introduction, so Lucas and I have already had one great conversation. I'm excited for a second one. Give you a bit more of an introduction to Lucas. So he was born and raised in China and came over to Ohio, I think when he was a high school student. And so, my connection to Ohio, just as a quick connection. So I went to Ohio or Cleveland, Ohio for school when I did law school and MBA school out in Cleveland, Ohio. So at least we both have a common Ohio connection there. But then after, with high school and that, was pursuing grad school, and he had his first entrepreneur business. He was part of a restaurant, and then as he was graduating, he kind of combined his software background and hospitality background to do his current business. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that is today and how he founded it and how that's gone and where the company's at. So with that much as an introduction, welcome back onto the podcast for the first time. Everybody else is meeting you, but welcome on, Lucas.
Hey, what's up, Devin?
So I gave kind of the short introduction and overview, but maybe taking us back, kind of born and raised in China, going to Ohio, and then going to school. Kind of give us a little bit of of your journey.
Yeah, sure. So came here in during high school, went to Ohio, which was a great school called Grand River Academy, in a small town in the Ashtabula County. And first time go to a board, other country than China, and it was a great study journey over there. And then go to Illinois, study in the University of Illinois, study for 4 years, and then go to Chicago, continue study in the Illinois Institute of Technology, aka IIT, for another 6 years to pursue the PhD degree. So it's quite a long study time. Yeah, yeah. Got lucky. Got some friends. Starting doing the entrepreneur. First time was a restaurant, and now it's doing restaurant technology because I am always a technology person. So I always want to combine my restaurant skill together with the technology skill. So that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah. So you went to grad school, and first, what did you major, or what did you graduate in as far as with graduate school?
Grad school, I graduated as a computer engineer, computer engineering major, focusing on computer networks, security, and things like that. Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, do a lot of codings, do a lot of research. It's a fun journey as well. Yeah.
No, makes perfect sense. So, and now, so you touched on it lightly. So you went off, you're doing grad school, you're doing computer engineering. How did you get into kind of the restaurant business, or how did you start to get connected or go in that direction?
Yeah. So while I was doing the master degree, because during that time it was a boom of Asian students studying in the United States, and they all missing their hometown food. So that's how we got into the restaurant business. Yeah, like a lot of students trying to looking for authentic Chinese food, and in the Chicago Chinatown, before now it's much better. Before, even though they serve pretty good food, but it was more like Americanized.
Mm.
So it's not like very authentic. So that's why we started like more like authentic Chinese food for the Chinese students. So that's how we started the that's the opportunity. And
So no,
yeah.
is that so because and I agree. First of all, so I lived in Taiwan for a couple of years, and the food over there, at least the Chinese food, and I been visited China a couple times.
Uh,
Chinese food in Taiwan and China is much different than the Americanized version. I like the real stuff much better. But there's a difference. So you can miss food or you can miss food from home. It's much different to say now I'm going to start a restaurant to service that need. So was it your idea and hey, I wanted to start a restaurant, or was it a friend or a partner, or how did you kind of say there isn't this authentic Chinese food, we're going to start doing that as a restaurant?
oh yeah. So the people missing the authenticity of the food was the driver to there's a business opportunity, but I wasn't the person to that bold to start a restaurant, because restaurant is a high risk business. It
Mm,
was I got some friends, college friends, so they want to start it, and I was just part of the ownership of that restaurant, and I focus more
mm,
on because more like a technology person. So I actually focus more on the how to optimize the operation with technology,
mm,
how to do like digital marketing,
mm,
and how to do more like an operation thing. So how about actually how you cook the food, how you how you maintain the quality of the food, how you
mm,
operate the restaurant more from my partners. Yeah, but I
mm.
was doing more like like more as a more like a support role instead of
Mm.
the main role. Yeah, in the
Okay, no,
restaurant.
makes sense. So
Yeah.
now you do the you participate. You kind of on the I would say it sounds like a bit on the operational side of how you make the food quality and how you manage things and how you run some of the business, and not or less on the food side, but nonetheless very important to run it. Now you graduate, and so that was I think when you were during graduate school. Is that right? As you were studying, you were also doing the business as part time.
Yeah. So that was a part-time business. So
So now you graduate and you're coming out of graduate school, and now you want to, it sounds like, you have the software background and the hospitality business. So how did you make the jump, or what made you decide to go into more of the software side of what you guys are doing now, as opposed to continue on the restaurant, or are you still doing both the restaurant and what you guys are doing now with the kiosk, or how did that work out, or, how did you make that transition to where you're at now?
yeah, because while I was running the restaurant business, and one of the major pain point is um, one of the very major pain point is how to deal with the labor. Especially for immigration restaurants. Um, the ideal labor for immigration restaurant was of course the second generation of immigrants, basically. Why? Because they can the language, they can speak both, that like, because we run in Chinatown, the second generation can speak
Mm,
fluent Chinese and English really well, so they are pretty much the best, uh, your best staff, especially in front of house. But the second generation of second generation immigrants, they don't really want to work in the restaurant anymore. They
mm,
want to. The parents working in the restaurant, so they don't want to work in the restaurant. You know, so
mm,
it's a liver is not just a high cost. It's like a resource, very scarce resource, very scarce resource. So we need more technology to help those restaurants to sustain this rapid changes.
mm,
So I think that's how we get into the kiosk, which is to automate the point of sale for quick service restaurant. So like a lot
mm,
of restaurants are doing it right now, like McDonald's, Shake Shack, they all use kiosks, and now we're trying to push the kiosks. We start from the authentic restaurants as well. So we push the kiosk to those like immigration restaurants
mm,
where the technology was really really left behind,
mm,
in the market, and
mm,
we help them, and then we try to get into the mainstream market as well. So we're trying to get into serve more like instead of serve like Chinese food restaurant, we're trying to serve more like a burger, hot dog, which also they want to use kiosks. So there are a lot of those
Mm.
type of restaurants in Chicago. So that's how we got into the business basically. Yeah.
So now you get into the business, make the transition, say, hey, there's an opportunity here for kiosks, especially for businesses that are, I'll say mom and pops or smaller businesses or ones that aren't necessarily a national chain. McDonald's has their own kiosk system, or Wendy's or some of those, but all the other businesses are a little bit left behind or don't have an adopted technology quite as quickly. So you had that idea, started to build a businesses, get the kiosk. So how's it gone? You jump into that, you start doing it. Has it been successful? You get into a lot of businesses. Has it been pivoting? Has it been struggles? Has it been goods or bad or highs or lows, or how's it gone since you guys launched?
There's up and downs, of course, and
Mm,
the most unexpected thing is of course the COVID. So
mm,
COVID really make us struggle because even though in COVID, restaurant if they want to open, they really want to have a very high standard, uh, health security. So they
mm,
want to keep a long distance from their customer and their staff. So maybe they want to use more kiosks, but at the same time, COVID really kills a lot of restaurants. So restaurants are getting poor. So
mm,
they don't have the money to make the investment
mm,
during this special time. So it's really a tough time for us, to be honest. Yeah, but even though people realize they need a kiosk, they need more technology to overcome uncertainties. Like for example, COVID. You never know what gonna happen tomorrow, but technology can really help you
mm,
get through it. But at this time, like January 2021, a lot of restaurants don't have the money to purchase a kiosk. So it's actually a very tough time for us. Um, so the ideal customer for us is restaurants, small to mid-sized chains with less than
mm,
20 locations, including mom and pop size.
mm,
Uh, you only have one, you can use our kiosk. If you have less than 20 locations, you can use our kiosk. It's not a kiosk for national franchise. It's not. It's more for local. It's more
mm,
for local businesses. Also, it's a great solution for restaurant owner who own multiple restaurants under different brand names. Say I own a burger shop here, I own a hot dog shop over there, I own another like coffee shop somewhere else, but they're all under the same owner. So this owner really, if you really want to improve all your quick service restaurant locations, and this is a great solution for you. Yeah.
mm. No, makes perfect sense. So now it kind of building on that. So and I get it. Restaurants have certainly been pounded, especially in person dining. Depending on where you're located, has been taking a pounding, and whether it's outside or whether it's inside or whether it's not at all, and depends on the states. And so certainly I can see how that introduced that a bit of that. That struggle or that issue of trying to get people to adopt it when they're just trying to keep the business open in the first place. And who would have anticipated that was what would happen to restaurants, a year ago type of a thing. But now if you're to look out and say, okay, it a little bit the old cliche term, it is what it is, I am what I am type of a thing. And, that's where the businesses are at today, kind of, looking at how you're going to pivot or how you're going to move forward in the next, 6 months to a year, kind of where do you see things heading or what's kind of the plan going forward?
Uh, so we do see some restaurants they still doing really well
Mm,
during the pandemic. They have a strong operation ability, strong execution ability to get through. So we are trying to take find out where those restaurants are and connect with them and provide our technology solution for them. But at the meantime, we're gonna do more research and development (R&D) to improve the product
mm,
because it's we're gonna prepare the COVID gonna we're gonna get through it uh, soon. I hope, yeah, with the vaccine. So yeah, we're gonna prepare for it.
mm,
Uh, we're gonna make our logistic really well so that we can serve wherever you are. We can ship it to you. Make sure it's very easy to install. Make sure it's easy to use, and so we make sure the system is stable, wherever you are, how good or bad your internet connectivity is, and it's pretty good to use. So we're gonna put more effort on the product during this time this year, so that
No, that makes sense. You're saying, hey, if right now as we're waiting for the restaurant business to pick back up, we'll focus on the customers we'll still do sales, but then we'll put a lot of our time and effort onto product development, making things even more solid, and making sure that as things open back up, pick back up, and as vaccine and COVID is hopefully going away or being more minimized, that then you'll be even stronger coming out of it to hit the restaurants back up as they start to open back up. So sounds like certainly a great plan.
yeah,
Well, as
exactly.
we wrap towards the end of the podcast, I always ask two questions, so maybe we'll jump to those now. So the first question I ask is: along your journey, what was the worst business decision you ever made, and what did you learn from it?
So the worst business decision I made was, so actually before the kiosk,
Mm,
we were doing something else. So which even more high tech than kiosk. So we had
mm,
a patent, and we were trying to do a business around that patent, which was a
mm,
great patent. However, the worst business decision is we didn't figure out where the market is for that patent, but we started
mm,
doing business around that pattern. So
mm,
which is actually you're doing it backward. So you didn't find a market, but you have a technology. So then you look at your technology, say, hey, who can use my technology? Which is not good. So but doing business is more like you have a business opportunity, and then you create a unique solution to solve that problem, and then if that's unique enough, you can apply for a patent. That's how it works.
mm,
So basically, um, it's not a bad thing to have a patent, but it's not a good big business decision. So we do spend a lot of investment around that patent to try to make sure it can generate some money, but eventually we cannot. So that's one of the worst decisions I made. But that's a great. But anyway, that's also a great experience. You always study from the failure, so it's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you because I get people come into every so often to my office and say I have a great idea. I just want to get a patent on it, and then I'll go license it, or I'll just I'll go out in the marketplace, and everybody will be beating down my doors because they have the world's best patent. But I
Yeah.
think to your point in your lesson learned is patent can be or play a well intellectual property can play a good role into a business, but you have to make sure the business case is there, where the market's at, the people are willing to pay for it, and how you're going to position yourself so that you
Yeah.
can leverage it or take advantage of it rather than relying on that as a business plan. So I think that one certainly makes sense, and you're not alone by any means on and learning
I
that
believe you
lesson.
saw a lot of it. I believe you saw a lot of it.
So I'll jump to now my second question I always ask, which is: so you're talking to a startup or a small business. What would be someone that's just getting into a startup or small business? What would be the one piece of advice you'd give them?
Yeah. So I think the best advice I can offer, because I don't want to say something vague because I'm not like Elon Musk, so I can
Mm,
say something like really broad. I would say as a startup, you focus more on your product, your bootstrapping um, strategy, which is very important because you're doing a startup. If you spend too much time on your presentation, um, your idea, how to validate this idea, it's not you're just wasting your time. I think as a startup, your time is very valuable, and you just focus on a small step, which is do a minimum viable product MVP, and keep validating it with your bootstrapping strategy. So find
mm,
some customer, tell them to refer. Forget about like doing advertisement on social media. Forget about all of it. Just look for your friends, family, and friends. Try your product, give some feedback. If they really like it, if they really solve their problem, they will refer it. So you look for that word of mouth. If you ever get that, then you're very good shape, and you will get whatever you want. Your fundings, your people, your team, everything. But running a startup, start off with a minimum viable product, and then do a bootstrapping, which is very important.
No, and I think that's great advice, and certainly something people should take to heart and learn from. So,
Mhm.
well, as we wrap up, if people want to find out more about your product, they want to be a customer, they're a small business, they want to invest in your company, they want to be an employee, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above, what's the best way to reach out to you, connect up with you, or find out more?
Just visit our website infi.us, infi.us.
Mm.
Um, there's a number, call the number, and you can definitely reach me, send an email, contact us. You can always find me because we are a small company. You just look for Lucas and they will, you'll find me for sure. Yeah.
Uh, well, definitely encouraging that was infi or nifi.us. Go check them out. Check out their kiosks if you, for any or all the reasons above, if you want to use their kiosk, if you're a business owner or a restaurant owner, if you want to be an investor, if you want to partner up with them or anything else, definitely encourage you to reach out to Lucas and check out more about what they're doing. Well, thank you again, Lucas. It's been fun to have you on.
Yeah.
Now for all of the listeners, if you have your own journey to tell and you'd like to tell it, feel free to apply to be a guest on the podcast by going to inventiveguest.com. If you are a listener, make sure to one, click subscribe so you get notifications as all the episodes come out, and two, make sure to leave us an awesome review so that everybody can find out about the podcast. And last but not least, if you ever need help with patents and trademarks, feel free to reach out to us at Miller IP Law. Just go to strategymeeting.com. We're always here to help. Thank you again, Lucas, and wish you the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Okay. Thank you so much.